Obsolete ballot drop boxes have gotten a new makeover in Madison. Our Catherine Merck shares the message behind that change.
After a young boy was hit by a car and killed, residents in Janesville are asking city leaders to make their streets safer.
Also an update in the Daryl Brooks trial, why Brooks was pushing for and denied an adjournment today.
Plus, automatic emergency braking is in most of today's new cars and can prevent accidents, but results of a new study show there are limitations.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Those big metal boxes that used to look like Madison's flag, blue and white, are now shrouded in black.
It's not a practical change, but rather an artistic one, with the city looking to prove a point after the Supreme Court ruled the boxes illegal. Our Catherine Merck figured out who was responsible for it and why they did it, and she's live tonight to explain. Catherine?
I'm outside of a drop box in front of Fire Station 10. We're right across the street from Warner Park here in Madison. Take a look at some of the changes. It says here a quote from Sojourner Truth saying, "Truth is powerful and will prevail." And then on the side here, in reference to the Wisconsin Supreme Court banning most absentee ballot drop boxes in the state, says, quote, "This decision is a step backward in our efforts to make it easy, safe, and secure for every eligible voter to cast their ballot." In a press release today, the city took ownership for this change. I reached out to the mayor or anybody else who could talk to me about it, and no one was able to get back to me today. But they did send us a statement from the mayor saying, quote, "Rather than removing these secure ballot drop boxes, we wanted to transform them to share the powerful words of Sojourner Truth and to convey our community's belief in democracy, voting rights, and the prevailing power of truth." The artist behind the work is Jenny Holzer, a New York-based artist who has some popularity, and the city of Madison has worked with her before during the Get Out to Vote campaign back in 2020 with various messages throughout the city. Reporting live in Madison, I'm Catherine Merck with News 3 Now.
Catherine, thank you. With just weeks away from the midterm elections, federal officials are closely monitoring potential threats.
Well, they range in everything from cybersecurity and ransomware attacks to physical violence and misinformation. According to the FBI, several key battleground states, including Wisconsin, continue to see unusually high levels of threats to election workers. Safety concerns have driven many workers to quit.
I'm hearing from my colleagues across the country that they are having trouble getting people to work the polls and work on Election Day.
Federal officials are also keeping an eye on foreign agents who are hoping to undermine confidence in the U.S. election system. The FBI says some of the top culprits come from Russia and China. Cooler temperatures and strong winds are ahead this week. Julian Seawright on the weather patio with more. Julian?
That's right. And until we get there, we're going to be dealing with some cloudy conditions as we get into the rest of our evening, and even a couple of pop-up showers just outside of Platteville. But it's mainly going to sit over and towards the southwest of southern Wisconsin for us as that system tries to continue to bring in some rain, mainly to the eastern parts of Iowa and trying to reach closer to Prairie du Chien. But for us, we might see a little of a sprinkle, but overall things are going to stay rather dry, but they will be cloudy, which is going to be holding our temperatures into the upper 40s throughout 50s, excuse me, throughout much of our evening. But even overnights, we're looking at temperatures to only drop into around 51 degrees for us here in Madison. As we take a look at what we're seeing around Dane County, we're going to be bouncing back and forth from the lower 50s and close to the mid 50s for many of us. But as we go into tomorrow, we are looking for things to be cooler than they have been over the last few days, but with it, we are also going to be experiencing some breezy conditions. We'll talk about that coming up in a few moments because some showers and winds are really going to be the headline as we get into our Thursday. Until then, back to you guys.
Julian, thank you. A group of neighbors in Janesville is asking city leaders to make some structural changes to their streets. The road they specifically are worried about is East Memorial Drive.
Last week, a 9-year-old boy was hit and killed on that street. Tahalil Moeddin spoke with people living in the area who believe the young boy's death could have been prevented. Tahalil?
Brandy Martinez lives about a block from where that incident happened. She says East Memorial Drive is full of traffic safety concerns. Concerns she shared with the city of Janesville more than a year ago. Martinez says it's common to see drivers going well over the speed limit in her neighborhood, ignoring stop signs or even losing control of their cars. She's been calling on the city to do something, whether it's speed bumps, better crosswalks, or flashing signs.
This is more of a need to redefine the culture of how the traffic is, behaving in the area, and really for more of a preventive measure, because this is not necessarily a school time issue. This is a 24/7 issue.
For their part, city engineering leaders say they're preparing work orders for pedestrian warning signs and better paint lines for 2 intersections along East Memorial Drive. They also say East Memorial is a candidate for a total safety overhaul pending a traffic study set for next year. Now we'll have more on why neighbors tell me that's still not enough, what else they want to see tonight at 6.
We will see you at 6, Talil. Thank you. A Waukesha County judge has denied Daryl Brooks' request to adjourn his trial. Brooks told the court he is experiencing COVID symptoms and was tested before today's proceedings. The results will not be ready until Friday. Brooks was offered a rapid test but declined. He also says he was placed on COVID protocol in the jail and is instructed not to leave his cell until his test results come back. The judge found there is no health and safety issue and this is nothing more than a delay tactic. Opening statements are still scheduled for tomorrow morning. Students in Monroe learned about the dangers of driving under the influence today. SSM Health teamed up with Greene County Emergency Response to host the Prevent Alcohol and Risk-Related Trauma in Youth, or PARTY program. The program teaches students how decisions they make related to alcohol and drug use can affect everyone around them.
I think peer pressure plays a big role in the actions of a lot of our youth. If everybody else is drinking and getting in the car, they feel pressured to do the same thing, and we're trying to show them that you don't have to put yourself into a dangerous situation.
The program includes dramatizations put on by students, doctors, emergency medical workers, and officers, highlighting the dangers and the consequences of driving under the influence. Students also heard testimonials from a Greene County judge and other personal stories about how their loved ones were impacted by their choices to drive impaired.
Right now, California police are searching for a suspected serial killer or killers responsible for 6 deadly shootings in San Joaquin County. Chris Wen breaks down what they know so far.
In California's Central Valley, a possible serial killer at large.
We do believe we could have potential serial killer.
So far, 7 people have been shot, 6 of the victims killed. The possibly connected shootings began in April 2021, with the most recent killing reported just last month. Police say the victims were alone and in dark areas when they were ambushed. All of them shot in the evening or early morning hours.
The average age of the victim is 42. We find that the sex of the victims are mostly male. We also find that the races are mostly Hispanic as well.
Stockton police releasing this video of a person possibly linked to the investigation, where you see the back of a person dressed in all black. The only surviving victim, a woman, telling police the suspect wore dark clothing and a dark COVID-style mask.
We haven't seen this individual committing a criminal act, but seems to be showing up in some of our recent homicides. So it's a person that we definitely want identified.
Meanwhile, victims' family members are waiting for answers. One of those victims, 54-year-old Lorenzo Lopez. His family desperately wants justice.
My mother and father were just heartbroken from this. You know, that's the first baby boy, and I know they have so many memories of, of him.
And until police catch the killer, they're urging the public to stay alert. I'm Chris Wen reporting.
An undisclosed settlement has been reached in the wrongful death lawsuit of an on-set shooting that killed a cinematographer. Helena Hutchins was fatally shot by actor Alec Baldwin on the set of Rust last year. The film's director, Joel Souza, was also injured. The case against Baldwin, the production companies, and others involved with the movie was filed in February, claiming various industry standards were violated. Work on Rust is expected to resume early next year, with Souza reportedly to return as director. After a delay because of Hurricane Ian, NASA and SpaceX have launched their 6th crewed mission together.
On board, the first Russian cosmonaut to fly in a U.S. spacecraft in 20 years. Bradley Blackburn has more.
It was a picture-perfect launch carrying a crew of 4 from sunny Cape Canaveral to the International Space Station.
There we should see that second engine begin to ignite now.
We got 3 rookies that are pretty happy to be floating in space right now.
On board the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, a historic set of passengers, including Commander Nicole Mann, the first Native American woman to go to space, and 38-year-old Russian cosmonaut Anna Kikina.
We will do our job the best way.
She is the first cosmonaut to ride aboard a U.S. spacecraft in 2 decades, and it comes with strained relations between the U.S. and Russia over the war in Ukraine. Before launch, crew members said it hasn't been a distraction.
I'm thinking a lot about my own tasks for space program.
We are not talking about much other than, the mission and what we need to do to be successful.
In July, Russia announced it will end its participation in the International Space Station in 2024. But until then, NASA and Russia's space agency have agreed to a seat swap to help each other stay in space.
We can continue to support each other, to help each other, and to be a good partner to each other, like the best buddy system.
A rare chance to leave some problems on Earth
Let's do it together.
and work together in space. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And the crew still has a long journey ahead.
They'll reach the International Space Station tomorrow night, where they'll remain on board for a 150-day science mission.
Julia returns with a complete look at your forecast for the rest of the work week.
And an update from Florida as the President and First Lady visit the hardest hit areas in the wake of Hurricane Ian. Later, you probably noticed gas prices are rising once again. We'll take a closer look at what could be causing the hike coming up tonight at 6.
And after 2 strong days of gains, the markets drop slightly in midweek trading. The Dow falls 42, the Nasdaq down almost 28. The S&P 500 loses almost 8. We'll be right back.
Most senators couldn't tell you the cost of a gallon of milk. Thanks, Ruben. Or how much beef has gone up this year. But I'm not like most senators or any of the other millionaires running for Senate. My mom was a teacher and my dad worked 3rd shift. I know how hard you work. And I know that by bringing manufacturing home, we create jobs and we lower costs. If we want to change Washington, we got to change the people we send there. I'm Mandela Barnes and I approve this message.
I'm Ken Pearett and this is my John Deere. We run about 3,000 acres of crop ground and 100 head of beef cattle. Number one thing that stands out when it comes to Sloan's is service. And we had some issues with the new ExactEmerge planter, and Kyle himself, the store manager, and one of the lead mechanics on the planters, came down on a Sunday afternoon, and they got us going. And that's going above and beyond. And that's why I think Sloan's first.
National call centers. They're just not the way to go, especially now that it's time for Medicare's annual enrollment period. Because nobody knows your local hospitals, doctors, and pharmacies like your local Informed Choice Insurance agent.
It's our biggest sale of the year. Get back to your health and fitness goals by joining Anytime Fitness for just $1 now through October 7th. Let us help you turn No I Can't into Yes I Can. Now through October 7th, join Anytime Fitness for just $1. Hurry in today.
Some numbers are thrilling. Some impressive. Some just right. After an accident, there's one critical number. The number that helps you get your life back by factoring in your needs for today and tomorrow. That's where Habish and Rotier's numbers really add up. With over 90 years of client successes and 13 offices to help you wherever you are. No other personal injury law firm is better suited to get the amount that's right for you.
The women I see have been through brutal, unimaginable things. I'll never understand why politicians like Ron Johnson make it so hard for women. He supported the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, outlawing abortion in Wisconsin. Even for victims of rape and incest, abortion is criminalized in Wisconsin. Doctors can be prosecuted. My most vulnerable patients will have nowhere to turn. Ron Johnson doesn't care about us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
After claims of teaching children to hate America, News 3 Now reality checks Mandela Barnes' views on the nation.
And we examine how the rising gas prices are impacting local services. When can you expect a shift in cost? That's tonight at 6.
A local couple gets unemployment help during the pandemic.
and ends up accused of fraud.
It seems like the state would much rather have had us go out of business.
Naomi Coles learns what started their nightmare and why they're fighting back. News 3 Now investigates, Thursday at 6. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A week after Hurricane Ian's landfall, at least 108 people have been confirmed dead. The streets of Fort Myers are lined with debris, and some are finding little can be saved. Volunteers are going door to door distributing supplies. Many residents still lack the basics: food, running water, and electricity. Wind speeds in the area ranged from 95 to 140 miles per hour. FEMA's damage assessment is ongoing. So far, the agency has distributed more than 2.3 million meals and more than 15 million bottles of water.
Well, today, President Biden and the First Lady visited the hardest hit areas from Hurricane Ian and also met with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, along with local officials and residents. Gloria Pasmino now with the latest from Fort Myers.
Biden traveled to this area here in Fort Myers to survey the damage himself and to offer a little bit of comfort for people here who will likely have a long recovery road ahead.
Today, we have one job, and only one job, and that's to make sure the people of Florida get everything that they need to thoroughly recover.
President Biden toured hurricane-ravaged Florida Wednesday, 1 week after Ian carved a deadly path through the state. More than 100 people were killed by Hurricane Ian, and many have lost their homes.
When we walked out, it was like something out of a war zone. It was just devastating.
Biden met with survivors who have lost their homes and businesses and thanked those on the ground helping these devastated communities.
And the search and rescue teams have knocked on nearly 70,000 doors and rescued over 3,800 people.
First Lady Jill Biden joined the president on an aerial tour, getting a first-hand look at just how widespread the damage is. Residents will be able to use the road to Pine Island that was damaged by the storm days ahead of schedule.
Later today, the public will be able to access this bridge and be able to get back.
Earlier Wednesday, Biden extended the federal disaster declaration for Florida, adding another 30 days of aid to help the long road to recovery.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving until this gets done.
And that was the key message the president had to deliver, trying to assure people that the force of the federal government will be here behind them as long as it takes to fully recover. Reporting in Fort Myers, Gloria Pasmino.
Let's get a look at our certified most accurate weather. Julian C. Wright joining us. Julian?
Well, as we're starting things out for our forecast, you can see outside the fall foliage is really starting to pop for our Wednesday evening for us. However, cloud cover is still trying to linger and even build more so as we continue throughout the next few hours. We're going to be looking at cloudy skies throughout much of our evening. Going into tonight, we may see a little bit of a decrease, but overnight we will see those clouds carry into our Thursday. But let's watch for our radars right now. A couple of pop-up showers, mainly just southwest of Dane County is what we're watching for. So as we can look into throughout rest of Lafayette County, you can see it's just a pop-up shower trying to move its way towards Monroe, but otherwise we're all rather dry and just dealing with some cloudy conditions. So what about tonight? Well, planning for tonight's temperatures will not be as cool as they have been over the last couple, as we're going to see the lower 50s throughout many areas here in Dane County, thanks to the cloud cover that we're going to see linger throughout the course of the night. And then going into tomorrow, temperatures again are not going to be nearly as mild as they have been over the last couple of days. As we're going to be around the 60s as we get into tomorrow. We're going to see windy conditions, however. This is really going to be the catalyst for us to really hold into the cooler air as we go into the rest of our Thursday. Outside of that, some scattered showers are possible, but the biggest headline will definitely be just those breezy winds, which are going to just scatter themselves throughout much of southern Wisconsin. So let's go ahead and plan out the rest of this evening. Could start to see a bit of some shower development just to the southwest, but start to fall apart by the time it tries to get into Dane County around 9 o'clock. But we could see areas from Lafayette, Crawford, Grant, and even Fort Rock and Greene County. Could see a couple of pop-up showers, but it's mainly going to be very isolated. And going into tonight, we're looking for dry conditions. Transitioning into our Thursday mornings, you're heading out the door, getting ready to go to take the kids to school or go to work. could start to see a development of some lines of some showers, mainly north of Dane County and areas to central Wisconsin. And by late morning, could see a couple of showers start to roll their way in just near Madison. As temperatures try to climb into the low 60s, we're going to see our high around noon. Then afterwards, temperatures are going to fall as we see those breezy conditions really start to pick up in speed and intensity by the time we get into our Thursday late afternoon and even towards our 5 p.m. commute. Sky cover is going to start to open up, but the winds are going to also increase, which is what we're going to be watching for throughout the course of our Thursday evening, as it's going to be on the breezy side and temperatures will start to fall going into the 40s by the time we get into our Thursday nights. And that's when we're going to start to see the start of some chilly nights ahead, as we're going to drop into around the upper 30s going into our Friday morning, but it's going to be even cooler by the time we get into our Saturday morning. Outside of that, we're not looking for too much in terms of rain totals, mainly trace amounts. Some areas could see maybe a tenth, but overall, that's not going to be the biggest story for us for the next few days. It's going to be how chilly it's going to get by the time we get into our Friday evening and even for our Saturday morning, which is going to be bringing in our low temperatures into the 30s, which will be prompting some frost development for us. So once again, we got to prepare for some areas who could see even freezing conditions and for the frost. Make sure that you're bringing your plants inside, covering them, and also your pets as well. But for the harvest, your crops is really one of the biggest things. Outside of that, here's our 3 things we'll need to know. The windy conditions and the chilly conditions are really going to be the headlines for the next few days, especially as we gear up for the weekend. The good news is temperatures will rebound by the time we get into Sunday. We're back into the 60s, and we're going to hold that firmly going into next week. A quick look at our traffic. Still rather smooth around the belt line. Some slow spots for normal congestion around this time, but even for the interstates, all green and smooth as butter. It's going to do it for right now. Let's go ahead and toss it back to you guys.
All right, Julian, thank you. Many new cars now have sensors to slow them down, but how effective is that technology? We'll have the findings from new testing coming up next at 5.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Tim Michael's company has been sued numerous times for sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. But he says
people love working at Michael's.
Women said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
We have a great work culture.
Higher-ups called the women liars and fired those who spoke out. So when he says this,
we have a great work culture,
know that the culture comes from the top.
The Internet of Things is evolving, creating the Internet of You. And Spectrum, America's leading internet and mobile provider, is bringing you seamless connectivity across all your devices. Introducing Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits, advanced Wi-Fi, and Spectrum Mobile Unlimited, all for just $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999. Spectrum Internet delivers speeds up to a gig with over 99.9% network reliability. Advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security and privacy that automatically blocks threats to protect all of your devices. And Spectrum Mobile gives you unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide 5G and the most reliable service coast to coast. Switch now. Call 833-673-4999. At Spectrum, it's not just about connecting things. It's about connecting you. Get it all with Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999 or visit a Spectrum store today.
Remember this? Forecasts are predicting an unreasonably cold and snowy winter. Now's the time to winterproof your home with USA Insulation. 35% more efficient than traditional insulation. Our foam in your walls keeps the cold air out and your warm air in. It's like putting a coat around your entire home. Call now before winter and get a $500 early bird discount.
USA Insulation.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs. Jam out on the strength machines and get down with some dumbbells. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, October 14th.
How do you use your energy? Inspiring a spark of creativity? Working hard to reach your goals? Thinking outside the box to bring your vision to life? At Alliant Energy, we're creating more clean, renewable energy every single day to power what matters to you. Because even during the most powerful moments in our lives, we're not thinking about power, we're thinking about a brighter future. Alliant Energy, powering beyond.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Technology now, and about 90% of new vehicles can hit the brakes, even if the driver fails to do so. But according to a new report, it doesn't always work. That feature uses cameras and sensors to detect a vehicle. But when the speed on these vehicles was increased to 40 miles per hour, the cars only stopped about 30% of the time. And when researchers looked at left-hand turns, well, every vehicle failed to stop. The same was true when the cars encountered another vehicle in an intersection. In every test, there was a crash.
About half of the vehicles received either no credit or a basic credit rating, which is our bottom two ratings.
Now, despite the results, experts support this technology and say it's important to remember these systems do have their limitations. Drivers simply need to stay alert at all times.
Almost 3 million people are living with atrial fibrillation in the U.S., and that includes former Badger star NFL defensive end J.J. Watt. Watt revealed he underwent treatment last week for the condition. AFib increases a person's risk of stroke, and health experts say identifying it early is key. Warning signs often include a rapid heartbeat, chest pain, dizziness, fatigue, lightheadedness, and shortness of breath.
If atrial fibrillation goes untreated or unchecked, it could either be a marker or a reflection of underlying disease. It could lead to heart failure. It could lead to increased mortality.
Treatments for AFib include medications, surgery, or catheter procedures, and low-energy shocks to reset the heart's rhythm, which is what J.J. Watt says he received. We'll get a final check on your First Warn forecast when we come back.
I'm Sheriff Jim Johnson. I'm Sheriff Eric Severson. We've got the real story on Mandela Barnes.
Barnes wants to defund our police, but he spent over $600,000 of your money on police protection for himself.
Barnes wants to eliminate bail for violent felons, and his administration has already released over 800 criminals, including 44 child rapists.
Take it from us.
Mandela Barnes policies are a threat to your family.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Hey, we're here at the local farmers market where Informed Choice Insurance Agency is offering fresh, hand-picked local Medicare. What do you mean when you say shop local for Medicare?
Your local Medicare plans have all of the bells and whistles the national TV ads promise, only better because you're working with local agents who know the doctors, specialists, and the hospital networks inside and out. You're not going to get that talking to a national call center wanting to check your zip code.
Don't be fooled by national TV hype. When it comes to your Medicare options, keep it local with Informed Choice Insurance Agency, and their services are free.
It's our biggest sale of the year. Get back to your health and fitness goals by joining Anytime Fitness for just $1 now through October 7th. Let us help you turn no I can't into yes I can. Now through October 7th, join Anytime Fitness for just $1. Hurry in today.
If you overdraw your account, Wells Fargo gives you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with a grace period? Like accidentally parking where you shouldn't.
Hey, what about this one? Nah, that one gets an extra day. Somebody got lucky.
Like having an extra day grace period? When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Update your bathroom's flooring with sheet vinyl from Menards. Easy to install IBC sheet vinyl is waterproof and has a durable wear layer to resist scuffs and stains. Get 11% off all IBC sheet vinyl. Finish off your bathroom renovations with a new bath fan by Delta Breeze. Strong performance mixed with quiet operation makes this energy-efficient bath fan the perfect choice. Save 11% off on Delta Breeze bath fans right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
I had no idea laughter could be a part of my healing after Joe died. But with the Grace's grief support, I found hope, friends, and the strength to move forward.
A Grace, caring every step of the way.
Family-owned Brothers Maine knows choosing appliances for a remodel or new build can be exciting.
and overwhelming. Our experienced staff has experienced it all as we've guided thousands of area families through appliance selection. Brothers Maine has a larger inventory and low-price deals that consistently beat competitors, including Big Box. You heard me. Big Box can't beat our prices. From sales to install, Brothers Maine does it all. Feel great about your purchases and feel like family at Brothers Maine.
Julian's back. Final check of the forecast.
That's right. But first things first, we got to talk about our Coats for Kids drive, which is from now to October 8th. We got to keep the area kids and even adults warm. So please, if you can, donate any gently used coats or accessories to any Clinky Cleaners location. And for our 10-day forecast, well, folks, it is going to be getting cold, especially as we get into tonight, Friday nights, and for our Saturdays. The 30s return, and then we'll start to see a rebound going into the weekend.
Cooling off. And we're back in 30 minutes for news. You're now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.